Hiya crafty folks, Amy here, and today I'm going to layer up some stencils and make some doggy pun cuteness today, so let's jump right in. Now this is the layered lattice bone stencil. This is part of the August release at A Colorful Life Designs, and you get a couple different options with this layering stencil. You can either get the heart or the puppy paws in this set, or you can get all three, and that's what I'm going to use to make this card today. I have a Distress Oxide in the color Candied Apple. I also have a white pigment ink and some craft paper. And here's a photo of the card that I'm going to make for you today. I got some funny doggy puns as far as my sentiments, and I carried the design onto the inside of the card, and I'm just going to show you quickly how I made this card. So to start, I'm going to do some simple ink blending right on this craft cardstock. I'm using my Wendy Vecchi station tool and using the magnets to hold down the stencil on top of this craft paper. And I want the bones to be white, so I have a blending foam here with a little wooden handle, and I'm just kind of squishing this white pigment ink right down onto this cardstock. So this is a way to kind of, use a white stencil, or a stencil that should be white, is to kind of think in terms of colored cardstock and white pigment. So if you don't have a pigment ink, this is a really good one to have in your stash. It's very versatile, and you can use it for a lot of different things in your card making. So once I get through with this process, I'm just going to remove the top layer. Now pigment ink does not dry very quickly, so make sure you don't stick your fingers in it. You can use a heat tool to set it if you want, or you could even do like a clear embossing powder on top. But I just set it aside and let it dry, and kind of wiped up my surface area with my little cleaning cloth here, and just wipe it right off the stencil, just so that's ready to go for next time. You can see it's almost very chalky. It kind of leaves a bit of a residue, but it does end up wiping off just fine off of my surface here. And I do have like a stamp chamois. It's almost like one of those, car wash cloth type texture. And then I decided to come in with the heart for the next layer. So I'm just going to layer that right on top, and you can see it's super easy to line up. And then I'm using the Distress Oxides here in this Candied Apple color to kind of fill in this heart layer. And you will see I do use that third optional puppy paw layer on the inside of the card, but for the front I'm just using the hearts. And this Distress Oxide was also kind of a deliberate ink pick because it's partially pigment, so it will sit on top of that paper rather than kind of soaking in like a dye ink would. So Distress Oxides are part pigment and part dye, so you will see it will sit nicely on top of that design. And I do want to cut down this panel a little bit, so I'm using my Paper Rose stitched edge rectangle dies. I'm just going to use some low tack tape to hold that down, and I will run it off screen through my die cutting machine. So it will give it that nice finished edge and give it a little bit of a white border once it gets attached to the white card base. But this is just a nice little finishing touch. It is optional. You could also make the card base completely out of this craft if you want it to be more single layer, but I think this gives it a nice finished edge. So I have a 110-pound Neenah Classic Crest Solar White card base there off to the side, and now I'm flipping through my critter book. This is my storage solution for my stamped and die cut or fussy cutout critters. So I'm kind of looking through my little dog critters that I have here, figuring out what I want to use. That is a stamp set from the rabbit hole designs that I was looking at originally. I think this is a Brutus Monroe set. Just kind of figuring out my options, what one will stand out against this background. Just kind of flipping through. I did attach that card panel directly. Here's a picture of the actual stamp set from the rabbit hole designs. I'm not sure if it's still available, but if it is, I will link it below the video with the other products that are available, so you can just follow those links. Now there's really great puns on this stamp set. It's one of my favorite things about it. So really cute images and adorable puns. So here's where I bring in that other optional layer to put some of the puppy paws, just kind of with some light ink blending on the inside of the card. And I'm just using some residual ink that's on my die designated blending brushes, just to kind of add that interest onto the inside of the card. Now, I do have a coupon code for Stencils if you want to shop for these stencils or any other ones in the shop. If you use coupon code AmyFan10, you'll save 10% on your complete order if you shop. And there's so many cute pet-centric stencils in this August release, so be sure to check it out. Again, I'll have that link below the video. If you just expand the video description box and scroll down, you'll find all those details. Now these are little sticky foam strips. I get these from Amazon. They're very comparable to the Doris ones, but you get a million of them for a really good price point. So not actually a million. I'm a bit of an exaggerator, I will admit, but you do get a ton. So I'm just using that to kind of pop up that cute no bones about it sentiment here, and I'm figuring out where I want it. Whether I want it in the center, towards the top of the card, or my usual lower right, and just kind of deliberating on the composition here. But once I decide, I will remove that backer off that little strip, and then you'll see the critters kind of fit perfectly on that. The little tail of the poodle just kind of cascades over the little sentiment strip perfectly. So that was a bit of a unintended happy little happenstance there. So of course I go with the lower right. You guys probably know that's kind of my jam. I prefer that composition. So just setting that down here, making sure it's straight, kind of eyeballing it, and then I will put some foam tape on the back of the dogs as well, just so that they're kind of an even height to that sentiment strip. So that they can kind of just sit on top of it and float on the cool background. So just cutting a couple little fiddly bits. These are pieces of foam tape from scrapbook.com. Extremely sticky foam tape, but I've had this roll for a while, and just cutting little pieces so that if I ship it, it doesn't get crushed in transit here. But you'll see that little tail will fit perfectly over the front of that little sentiment strip. So I'm just going to put a little dab of liquid glue on the little tip of the tail, because I know that that will connect over that sentiment strip. So just kind of placing these little pieces on here, kind of lining it up perfectly, almost a little bit behind the strip, but not quite, more just kind of flush with the strip. But other than that, there's not really a lot of bulk or dimension on the card. It's relatively flat overall. It shouldn't cost you anything else to ship something like this. So just getting the dogs set up where I want them. And then that's going to finish the card. You can see it came together pretty quickly. I love these layered stencils. There's so many awesome layered stencils in the shop, so be sure to check those out. Like I said, use my coupon and save yourself some cash. But it's a fun and easy, punny, cute birthday card for a dog lover in your life. So thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you checking it out. If you hit the thumbs up, that'll help me out a lot, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.